Thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to join me. I'm Kyle Holt. I'm the president of SP2, and what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to actually switch over. I'm going to share my screen here. So bear with me as I make this swap. And we're going to talk about preparing your students for a lifelong career. And I mean, shoot, that's what you guys are doing every day, right? So I know we've got about 45 or 50 minutes, so I'm going to jump right into this thing and rock and roll on through here and try to leave some time at the end for questions if there are any. So first of all, if you're not familiar with SP2, we provide industry-specific online training on safety, environmental, HR, soft skills, ethics, and we're providing that to over 200,000 students every year across 3,200 career tech programs. We also work with 2,600 shops and dealerships in the transportation fields, in auto service, collision repair, heavy duty diesel. And we take a lot of pride in what we do with career tech schools. And I get a chance to typically travel around each summer and get to go to different events with instructors all over the country. And this year, it's been a whole lot of Zoom meetings and doing things from home or doing things from a very empty office. And so I hope that you guys are having a good summer so far, even if we're having to do this deal with this strange pandemic. So as you know, you all just made history by graduating the first ever class of hands-on students who had to finish completely virtual. And each one of you had a different experience as you went through that. And I've had a chance to hear from a lot of different instructors across the country. And what I've been hearing is that a lot of the students they actually finished on the job. Instead of finishing their education in the classroom, they were finishing on the job. They had an internship or a part-time job that became oftentimes more than that, sometimes a full-time job, and they were getting credit for working in industry. Other students finished working virtually, but they didn't have any hands-on since March. And that is a real challenge when we're trying to train students for the career that they're about to go into. And I'm sure that that some of you had those students who may have clocked into class but were completely checked out for the past couple of months. And that's a struggle too, because you know that some of those students could have really been learning and growing in their knowledge and the skills that they need to have a successful career. But so many people were just trying to figure out, what was the next day going to bring. And so you did it. You made history. It's not a history that any of us wanted to make, but you did it. And what's still ahead is you're about to make history again. You're about to start the first year of students who have had to learn a hands-on trade while they haven't been able to necessarily be in the classroom or the lab area as much as we'd like. And so there are a lot of questions out there. I'm in Kansas City, and where I'm at, our governor just declared that school is delayed at least 3 weeks until after Labor Day. And then they'll determine whether they're going back virtually, hybrid, or if there's more in person than we thought there would be. I know in California, there's a whole lot of conversations right now about virtual indefinitely. But how long is indefinitely? And is it going to end up being the entire first term? Is it going to be just part of the first term? Is this going to creep into 2021? And I still think there are a lot of people out there who really don't know what those answers are. And nod your head if you're wondering right now, like, what is this going to be? Just give me a nod. Like, yeah, what is this going to look like? Right. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of questions, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. Is there going to be a vaccine? Are we going to start virtual, go to in-person, end up being back in virtual? Is it going to be a hybrid all year long? A lot of a lot of places are talking about ending the first semester early around Thanksgiving and not having any students that are physically back in the classrooms until after after January, like February 1st or something. I was talking to instructors in Oregon, and they were telling me that they have to artificially reduce their enrollment by 40% this year so that they can socially distance. How do you socially distance in career tech education and still be safe? We're all going to figure this out together, but it doesn't change the fact that your responsibility is and always has been to students for a career, no matter what. No matter whether we're in the middle of a pandemic, no matter whether you've got students who are goofing off in class, no matter whether you've got all the budget you could possibly hope for, or you're struggling day in, day out, having to beg, borrow, and steal from industry in your community just to make sure your students get a great education. That's your responsibility. You've always done it. You'll continue to do it no matter what you're faced with, because that's what educators do. And I'm so proud that we get a chance to work with educators across the country, just like yourselves. You know, things are uncertain, but one thing that is very certain is that it is more important now than ever to have actual skills in order to have and hold a job. We've had unbelievable levels of unemployment. The questions for people who are unskilled are just through the roof, but those that have skills that are in industries that are essential industries that we need out there, there is not a problem finding and holding a job in those industries. So as we're looking at what this weird future will hold, just a couple predictions here. Retirement in industry is going to increase. In most of the trades, we have a shortage, and I know that we've got some instructors on here who would be in industrial tech, probably machining, possibly in the transportation trades, welding, construction. In every one of those segments, we have a shortage of skilled workers, and what we've also got is we've got an aging population. Retirement's going to increase because people aren't going to go into work and say, you know, I'm willing to deal with the risks. So that is going to only make that shortage worse. I also expect that we are going to see career tech education enrollment artificially reduced in this coming year. Now, I don't know if you guys are having to limit your student count or not, but like I said, Oregon is. I've heard of other instructors who have been in conversations with their administration to try to figure out, can I have the same number of students? Do I have to have less? Nobody is. I haven't heard a single instructor say, oh yeah, I'm being allowed to have more students in my classroom this year. So we've got a whole lot of worries about artificially having to reduce our enrollment, but then because of unemployment, and this happens every time there's a downturn in the economy and unemployment goes up, career tech enrollment increases in the following years, because either parents can't afford to send their students off to a four-year college, which is great for our industries because, you know, there are way too many students going off to four-year colleges that don't need a four-year degree, or they're getting a degree in something that they can't find a job in. But then also those people who were employed before, adults who are looking to, they're now unemployed, they're looking to find a new career and find something that is already hiring and will be a steady, solid career for them and their families in the future. And so we inherently also get adults coming back for additional education in the career tech fields. So we can all expect to see an increase in the future, but right now it may be an artificial decrease. one of the other things that we've got to recognize is that career tech education is different from the rest of the classes out there. And socially distancing, this picture on this screen is what most people are expecting when they're hearing people talk about school. But that's not our kind of school. Yes, we have classrooms, but we also have, we've got lab areas in which you are trying to show students up close and personal how to do a specific task. And you can't have them all in a big long line and each person gets to see you do the same task one at a time. There are too many things that can go wrong, too many students that can be wandering off doing other things, and also trying to do the same task 15, 20, 25, 50 times for the students in your classroom is just not practical. So make sure that you're talking to your administration right now. Oh my gosh, I just saw it. Julio Guzman, thank you for jumping in on that chat. Julio, you said that you start tomorrow. And wow, I had not heard of any of the schools that were officially starting in July. If you can share, I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. When students are coming back, if they're coming back tomorrow, that would be great to learn a little bit more about. But make sure that you're talking to your administration about your classroom and what you need in order to make sure that your students are taken care of properly. Consider your specific lab area, and hopefully all of you have already done this. You've really looked at your lab and you've tried to determine what can I do, what can't I do to comply with social distancing, and how will I make this thing work? In most of the trades, gloves and masks are actually easy for us. It's harder to get students in the general classrooms to probably keep their masks on, we're used to wearing eye protection at all times. We're used to PPE. Most people are just learning what PPE even stands for right now, whereas our industry, we've been dealing with PPE for decades. So gloves and masks and eye protection are all easy. Social distancing may not be. So just make sure that you're in constant communication, because this is going to be a strange school year for everybody. Because you're trying to set your students up for a success in their lifetimes, the most important thing that you can do is that time in shop. So schedule that time like it's gold. We don't know how much we'll get, but make sure that is schedule it like it's gold, because it is during this time. Assume that every week of in-person school is going to be your last week of in-person class time. Which leads right back to what we just talked about, is make sure that whenever you can, be in the labs. Like I said at the beginning, we do a lot of safety training, and there are instructors out there that spend quite a bit of time before they go into the labs just talking about safety within the labs and things like that, and you still have to do that. But that's one of the things that, because everything that we do is online, that can be done. The entire SP2 program can be done outside of school, not in classroom time, so that your students are done and have taken their SP2 and they've got their safety certificate, they've got their pollution prevention certificate prior to walking into that classroom, so that you can spend as much time as possible in lab. And then this is one that unfortunately is a reality. A lot of us, almost everybody in career tech education, we're having to do whatever we can to scrape up parts and equipment and supplies and tools and anything that the students may need, because our budgets just are not big enough to get every single piece of equipment and every tool and every supply that our students need in order to be successful. It is going to be harder to get money. It is going to be harder to get in-kind donations from industry this year. So expect to work harder just to get the same amount of industry involvement. And if you haven't already been out there talking to the businesses in your area, get out there and start now. Go round them up. Let them know that, hey, we're still having school. We still have students that will be coming out. I still need help. Whatever you can do, whether it's money, whether it's in-kind, start knocking on the doors of businesses that maybe you haven't knocked on in a while. It's going to be hard this year because everybody's going to be worrying about, are we going to have a second wave? Are we already in the second wave? Maybe there's a third wave coming. Who knows? Are we going to have a vaccine? Are they going to have a treatment? What's going to happen to the economy? Are people going to be pinching every penny? Yes, they will. So you've just got to be ahead of that. Start practicing web-based demonstrations if you haven't already. This is a shot of an instructor out of Idaho State University who there were several articles about how he had set up his camera and he was doing Zoom presentations for his students to try to make sure that they understood automotive service technology. And but as you look at this, there's a pretty significant problem here, and that's that the camera is set way far away from him on this shot. It's really hard to tell what he's doing without that up close camera. So start practicing those web-based demonstrations. I'll bet you got a lot of practice this past term. Keep that practicing going. Try to make sure that you've got somebody on the other end who can give you critiques and say, hey, I couldn't see this, I couldn't understand that. Get the right equipment and make sure you're ready in case you do have to go completely virtual. Have e-learning options available at your disposal. This is something that SP2 does, but we're not the end-all be-all. We only supply for certain topics like safety and environmental and HR and soft skills. There are a lot of technical training pieces out there that have become more available. A lot of them were given away for free at the end of the last semester. Many of those will not be free this coming year. Many of them they can't afford to, or they were giving it away for free as a teaser. Find the things that you can afford, that will be helpful, that are industry specific. Have those ready to go. And determine what industry recognized credentials your students can earn, whether they're in the classroom or they're virtual. That's something that I'm going to talk about a little bit on what we've done at SP2 here in just a moment. But it is something that you really have to be thinking about, because those industry recognized credentials can be the difference between your student getting a job or some other person getting the job that they were going for. So we want to be part of the solution all the time. And we want to help you protect your school, protect your students, protect yourself. If you've ever heard me speak, or you've ever heard anybody from SP2 give a presentation, you'll hear us say that every time, because that's truly our mantra behind everything that we do. We have industry-specific training packages for automotive service, collision repair, heavy duty and diesel technology, welding, construction, cosmetology, culinary, and we will have precision machining coming in this first semester. It may not be until September or even early October, but it's coming soon. And each one of those contains information about safety, environment. Well, I'll come back and I'll talk about that, because I don't want to forget to talk about the additional training bundles. If you're in the transportation trades, we worked with the Automotive Lift Institute to get their Lifting It Right certification course placed on SP2. So you can get, if you're automotive service, collision repair, heavy duty diesel, and you're interested in that, we have the ALI course on SP2 that you can add to your training packages. We have a soft skills training bundle. We have a human resources training bundle. These are all, and those soft skills and human resources can really be used by every single student in the school. So whereas if you got the construction training package, that's really only going to apply to construction students. But if you added on the soft skills training package, it may be that construction students are using the construction courses, but literally every other student in your school can be using the soft skills courses, which talk about communication, talks about personal professionalism, showing up on time. It talks about phone skills, things that are going to be valuable to anybody as they move into a career. With SP2, we want you to train all of your students. So, each of the training packages includes a safety course, includes either a course or information on environmental standards, so they're environmentally compliant in the job that they're doing, and those are industry specific for both of those. We've got an industry specific ethics course for each one of our training packages. And so, the ethical issues that cosmetology students are different than the ethical issues that would be faced by somebody in automotive service or somebody in welding. We have industry-specific interview skills courses. And then we've also got how to run a successful team meeting. And then we've also got a course that's called Land That Job, Building a Resume. And this is a course that can be used by any student in a school. Although it is specifically designed for career tech students, it can be used by anybody, where students go through, they literally fill in the blanks and they build out their resume. So they've got a professional looking resume to take out as they're looking for a job. Each one of our industry specific training bundles is only $299 per year, and you can train all those students. And that also goes for the soft skills and HR courses. So, if you're interested in taking a look at any of our training bundles, at the end, I'm going to have our contact information up there. We'd be happy to give you demo access so that you can take a look at it if you haven't already seen SP2's training in the past. I mentioned industry recognized credentials. This is something that has become extremely valuable to students out there. I mean, you're living this, so I don't have to tell you, but when a student has an industry recognized credential, that means a lot to that student. That means a lot to your program. That means a lot to your administration that they're earning that while they're still in school. And that means a lot to employers. So we've started teaming up with businesses across the country that either have or have created training courses that we can provide out there as industry recognized credentials for students. Now, most of these so far have been focused on the transportation trades, but we're beginning to expand that now, and we're looking to add credentials across all of our training packages. But we teamed up with WD-40 on a cleaning, storing, and maintaining tools and equipment course. That's available for all of the transportation segments, as well as for welding. And they've got a brand new course that's coming out. We should be posting it by August 1st, and it will be specific to construction students and the cleaning, storing, and maintaining their tools and equipment. So we're really excited about that relationship. Valvoline has had these 3 courses out there for instructors to use for, I think, over a decade now. But last year they decided that they didn't want to continue to deal with the cost and effort that goes into supporting their own learning management system. So they teamed up with SP2 and they said, look, we'd rather work with you guys and get to more students out there. So that is now available for automotive service and heavy duty diesel students nationwide. We teamed up with Daimler Trucks. So if you're a heavy duty diesel instructor and you've got the SP2 heavy duty diesel training package, you've got a heavy duty truck terminology course that is provided by Daimler Trucks, and your students can start earning that. That's new, and we're really excited about that. That one just got added in April. And then brand new, this also will launch on August 1st. If you're a collision instructor, they took their technician training course for plastic repair and provided that to us so that we could provide it out to collision students, because they said, look, at this time, there are five main tasks that we really want to see every entry-level technician be able to do, and plastic repair is one of them. If we can help make sure the students understand how to do proper plastic repair, that helps us when they come out. So we're excited about that. We'll have more industry recognized credentials that we'll be adding throughout the 2020-2021 school year. So if you don't see something and you're interested in something, or you know of a credential provider, love to hear from you and let us know what you're looking for, because that's our focus. We want to make sure that we continue to provide things that will make your students more valuable in their careers. And then, like I mentioned, we teamed up with the Automotive Lift Institute, and their Lifting It Right course is now available through SP2. It's exclusively available to schools through us. Automotive lifts are just unbelievably dangerous. If you've got a lift in your shop, you know this. So this goes above and beyond what SP2 covers in our lift section so that they can earn a credential from the organization that is out there credentialing people day in, day out. This package is only $225, again, to train all of your students at your location. So if you're a transportation instructor, please consider adding this in. I think you'll find it to be very valuable. So why do schools use SP2? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's the law. Safety training must be provided. It must be industry specific. It cannot be generic safety training. It has to be specific to the industry they're working in. It has to be performed annually and when there are significant changes in the work environment. In addition, SP2 is completely trackable training, so you can prove that your students have gone through it. They receive a certificate at the end, and you have the reports to show it. But it's also consistent content, and this is something that a lot of instructors don't think about. But if there is an incident in your classroom and the investigation takes place, the first thing they're going to ask you for is, can you show me your safety training? And if the instructor says, well, I do the safety training, then now the burden of proof is on the instructor to show what was that safety training. Can you prove that was the safety training content, and was it consistently applied? And with SP2, we actually handle that. Our training content is consistent, and you know, when there is an incident, we're typically providing the all of the content and the results directly to attorneys and all the people that are involved with the investigation. So as much as I wish that it wasn't sometimes just to, you know, cover your behind, every instructor should be out there covering their behind. These are the same courses that are used by industry. So this is not, it's not, you know, watered down for schools. We treat your students just like we treat any professional in industry, because they're dealing with the same exact issues out there. And ultimately the goal is, let's avoid injuries, let's avoid illness, let's avoid legal and medical costs rather than have to deal with them after the fact. The better that we can do to prevent them, the better it is for everybody. And in some cases, you can prove to your school insurance agency that that your students are trained on safety. And I have seen schools that have received a reduction in their insurance costs, and then the reduction that they received went right into that instructor's budget for the following year. So that's you might want to talk to your administration and see if you can make that happen. So with SP2, we always talk about this. Make sure that you make safety training a first week requirement, or even before they arrive for their first day of school. And this year, it may be that that's easier to do because they may not be arriving for their first day of school for quite a while. I think we're all wondering that. But make sure that their safety training is the first thing that they do. Don't allow any of the students into the work area until safety and environmental courses are complete. And we really try to encourage instructors to make sure that their students are doing this as homework, doing this as virtual training, not using valuable classroom time to take their SP2 training. It's all online, and it's also it's not just available on a computer. It's responsive design, so it works great on a phone or any other mobile device. So students can take this outside of the classroom. Use that. Again, that lab time is gold. Make sure that they're not taking up your time with their SP2 training. And then also make sure that they're building that resume. You as an instructor can look in and see the resumes that the students have built. This gives you the opportunity to work with them in making sure that they're ready for a career when they get out there, and that they're properly selling themselves and the skills that they've picked up in your classroom. So help them build that resume and find employment opportunities. And like I mentioned, the Build a Resume course, on the left of this screen, you can see one of those resumes. And this is Cassandra's resume. She's from Watsontown, Pennsylvania. You know, you don't only see her work experience and education, but we automatically include all of the credentials they've earned through SP2. They can add relevant job skills. They can add volunteer work. It truly is a professional resume. And as students build that, if they want, they can post that resume to our SP2 careers system. And SP2 careers, we've got over 80,000 candidates who have posted their resumes across all of the different industry segments that I mentioned: auto service, collision repair, diesel, construction, cosmetology, culinary, welding. This is a place that employers can go to find entry-level candidates, and they can find them, they can recruit them. The personal information of the candidates stays hidden. Like, you can't see Cassandra's name or her last name, her email address, her phone number or address, because that's hidden until Cassandra gives a specific employer access to that by either applying for a job that the employers have posted, or when an employer reaches out and says, Cassandra, I saw your resume. We'd really like to talk about job opportunities with you. Cassandra can say, I'm interested, and that's when her information would be shared. So your students are able to remain, keep their private information private, and find the job opportunities out there near them. All right, so your students win with you because you provide them with a passion for hands-on work, real-world experience, the ability to perform those basic tasks that industry is expecting, and that willingness to keep learning. Our goal at SP2 is to try to fill in those gaps that sometimes may get glossed over, or maybe that we can help protect the instructors, protect the students. These are the things that SP2 is trying to do. Everything that you're doing, whether you're doing it virtually or in person or in a hybrid format, please keep doing it. We are huge fans of you. Now, I'm going to take just a minute and I'm going to run through some new things in SP2. So if you already use SP2, this is going to look very different from what you've seen, but it will be familiar. If you haven't used SP2 before, well, hey, these are new things, and you're just going to get to hear the announcements. So we've got a brand new course menu. This course menu functions, instead of just having a list of courses, one on top of each other, we've set it up similar to like Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu, with a tiling system, so they can choose their courses. We recommend courses. We lay out the third-party credentials there. We make it really easy for the students to access. And this is, like I said earlier, this is mobile optimized, so it works just as well, maybe even better on a phone than it does on a computer. We've updated our mobile functionality. This is, we've got an easier menu access. We've got simpler navigation for students. We've got swipeable content. So on the right here, like, this would be what it looks like if you're using it on a phone, and you can swipe through the content rather than having to hit the button just perfectly so it moves to the next page. We're really excited about making this easier to use on the phones. We've locked the audio bar to the bottom of the screen, so there's no scrolling to play the audio. So if your students don't want to read, they can listen to literally everything that SP2 offers. And then we've got a module completion component, which is that circular deal down in the bottom right corner there, where they can see how many modules have they completed, how many modules have they not completed, and how many modules have they attempted but not passed yet. We're making it really easy for students to take their training through SP2 on their mobile devices. Like I said earlier, we've got a new credential from Service King, this plastic repair course. This is going to be great. It's a video course that they created in-house for their specific technicians. If you aren't a collision repair instructor, but you've got a collision repair instructor at your school, let them know about this. This could be something that really makes the difference for their students getting a job and being able to do plastic repair well. Excellent material and really good for virtual learning. We've got updated credentials. All of the WD-40 courses are getting updated. We've got the new course coming for construction students. So we're really excited about this relationship because they are really staying on top of their materials and looking to update it each year. Oh, I see a question. I apologize. Is this an app or just a web browser for mobile? It's a web browser for mobile. So they don't have to download an app or anything. They would just go to sp2.org and log in at that location with the codes that they set up themselves. So they don't have to download apps. I know that can be a problem. We're probably going to add an app in the not too distant future, but we won't take away the ability for students just to access it in a responsive mobile format. Oh yeah, we have updated. We had and if you've used SP2, you've probably taken the Bloodborne Pathogens module. We've updated that module so that it's now Bloodborne Pathogens and Infection Control to specifically deal with the issues that everybody's facing with COVID-19. We're addressing the workplace as well as working in and around vehicles for the automotive, working in and around customers. We want to make sure that that we're covering the issues, that not just saying, everybody knows how to wash their hands now. Everybody knows to wear a mask, but we've got to be thinking about how this actually applies to the industries that we're all dealing with. Cosmetology's module is different than automotive service, which is different than welding, which is different than construction. So each one has been updated specifically for its specific industry practices. And then last but certainly not least, we have updated our administration system. And for instructors that have used SP2 in the past, you guys are going to love the new admin system. Everything is right there when you first get to the administration system. It's easy to create a new group of students. The invitation system, which is what you use to reach out, you create an invite and you send that out to your students. They will add themselves into the program, create their own username and password, so you don't have to add all the students yourself. It will save you hours of work. We introduced that 2 years ago, but we still have some instructors that were trying to figure that out. We have made it even simpler and put it right on the main page for the administration. On the right side, you see the those circular graphs. That shows you how many of my students have logged in the last 30 days. How many of my students has it been more than 30 days since they've logged in? Which ones have completed a specific course and which ones have not that I've assigned it to. At the bottom of the screen, you can see when are my subscriptions coming up for renewal, or which subscriptions have expired. And we're really excited about this because this is truly, the other components are really to benefit the students. This one will really benefit instructors. So let's see, I think, did I get that in the 45? Hey, I did that in 40 minutes. I did pretty darn good there. I think I've left us some good time for questions. So I'm going to leave our contact information up here on the screen. But I would invite you to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you've got. And again, if you are interested in getting a demo of any of the SP2 training programs for yourself or other instructors at your school, please email us at info@sp2.org or give our team a call at 888-241-8332 and let them know you'd like demo access. We love sending demos out. We want to make sure that you get a chance to see it before you invest in it. So I'm going to throw this open. What kind of questions can I answer for you guys?
In terms of the administration that you mentioned was updated, is that at all customizable? For instance, you say that the little disc shows, how many students have logged in the last 30 days. Right. My first semester is only going to be 6 weeks long. So I'd be more interested in knowing, have they logged in the last 2 days or 3 days? Is that period of time?
That's not customizable at this time, but you know what? I'm going to make a note of that because that wouldn't even be all that big of a modification to add in, and being able to modify that, I think that would be a cool feature to add. So I'm going to add that, and I'll provide that to our development team.
Yeah, at the 30-day mark for a lot of the kids, that'll be too late.
All right.
it would be hard to draw them back in,
Kyle, you said there was certificates at the end of the safety. What kind of certificates? Like is it industry recognized, you said, or like say for instance, construction industry, is that OSHA or what is that?
So it's not OSHA 10.
Okay.
It would be construction specific training. And OSHA 10, OSHA 10 is great, and it's probably used in construction more than any other industry out there. And it really has been designed around construction. We're actually teaming up with an organization here in the next couple of months, and it's not a done deal. So I can't say, I can tell you the date or anything, but it's pretty close to being a go that we'll be adding in OSHA 10 that can be purchased for your students through SP2.
Okay, thank you.
Probably, boy, I'm going to get myself in trouble. If you tell anybody I told you this, and I know this is being recorded, so I could deny it, but I'll still get caught. We'll have the OSHA 10 up and running by probably October 1st. But they are still, the certificates, the students receive a certificate at the end of every course that they pass. And those are all industry recognized credentials.
Will that be an additional extra cost then for the OSHA 10 to be able to do that?
It will.
It will. The card?
Yeah. And we have to charge on it. I think it's going to have to be charged on a per student basis. That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out, because I love the way that we price our training, because it's one price. There's no ambiguity about it. We just want to make sure that you can train everybody. If you add more students throughout the course of the year, keep training them. But OSHA 10 in everything that I've seen out there has to be on a per person basis. What other questions can I answer, gentlemen? Oh, and Dawn, sorry, I don't want to lump you in. I just didn't see you there for a second. I apologize. Hey, okay. Well, if there's no questions, then I do want to make sure I put this back up and make one more. I'm sorry. I see a question came in from John on the chat. I noticed the title of this involves Sketchup. Is that a module you'd be adding to SP2? No, I don't know where Sketchup came from. I have no idea where that came from, John. I wasn't part of the name of the course I put out there. I'm not exactly sure what that meant, but and it says also, can you talk more about the machining module? Yes. So we've been putting together and working with some precision machining experts and instructors out there, because this is the it's the one that we've had a lot of requests for over the past couple of years, and we've really wanted to put something together. So it's going to cover the safety and environmental aspects of precision machining, and obviously we can't talk about how to be safe on every specific machine out there. That is a limitation for any safety training that is done online, because the actual equipment, you need to be using the manufacturer's safety training for that. And so, if it doesn't matter what you're doing out there, you've got to train on each machine. But we can train on how to be safe around machines and talk about lockout, tagout, personal protective equipment, slip strips and falls, all of the things that are specific to precision machining. I hope that answered your question, John. And yeah, any other questions that I can answer either via the chat or by voice? I'm happy to do it.
Maybe that's better.
There we go, buddy.
So we can go to the website and see examples of the lessons and everything being offered, right?
You can go to the website and you can see some images, but what I would do is either email info@sp2.org or call us at 888-241-8332 and ask for a demo. We will give you full access, so you can see the entire thing. And rather than just like a list of the training modules, you can see the whole kit and caboodle.
Excellent. Thank you.
Absolutely. And our team, when I say we love giving out demos, I'm not kidding. Our team really does love it. So they'll take as much time as you want to walk you through it and explain things to you. So don't hesitate to give us a call. All right, gang. Well, hey, I know that this is the first time you've been doing this conference virtually, and I know that it's a lot more fun when people are all able to get together and have a drink at the bar and really swap stories and really share information back and forth. But hey, we got to do it this way. We'll do it this way, and I hope that this was informative. I also hope that it was a little bit of fun. So have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. And if you need anything from us, you just let us know at SP2. Okay?
Thank you very much, Kyle.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.